Hey, what's up, gang? Terother here, and today I'm bringing you a build video. I just want to show you a new build that, well, it may not be quite so new, but it's a fun build that I put together just based on, some stuff I had lying around in my stash. This build is better in groups. It can be adapted to solo play, but I think it's much more fun with the build running in a group. As you can see, I'm using the Flow of Eternity Diablo. I did not transmog that. That is actually what that is. So we are going to be using 7-sided strike in the build. The Spirit Stone that you see on my head is actually a Mad Stone. So we're going to be spreading all kinds of Exploding Palm using 7-sided strike. But you know what? I could talk to you about the build, but I think it'll be best if I just kind of show you what it can do. We're going to join a public game here. And hopefully, yes, this is open. Let's see, who is fighting right now? Let's teleport to this guy. Yes, we'll pay a Rift Keystone. And you can see on my bar here that I'm going to, that it starts with Tempest Rush. And then we're going to hit 7-sided strike and then boom, everything blows up after that. It's great in these groups here. So as you can see, all we do is we just run around and put up Exploding Palm on everything. We'll pick up the loot as available. Yeah, this is basically it. Do we have anybody else in here? Yeah, there's 2 other people in here. Yeah, it's best when you have other people that can just blow everything up for you. And yeah, we'll kind of go through this rift here real quick, like here. We'll do a little bit more. Try to go through at least the Rift Guard and kind of talk through what I'm thinking as we go through this here. Oh, blood! Oh my God, it's a blood shard golem. Those things are epic. Oh man, this is a good start. I'm loving it. See, so what I did there is I pressed Exploding Palm. That is something you never, ever, 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 ever do in this build. Just simply because, ooh, in his Diablo. The reason you do that is because Exploding Palm costs 40 spirit, 7-sided strike costs 50. Exploding Palm applies 1, 7-sided strike applies 7. So do the math, it ain't hard. Boom. And as you can see, we've avoided the main problem that other Madstone builds have, and that is that the Exploding Palms that 7-sided strike applies traditionally doesn't have the Sun Wukong bonus applied to it. As you can see by the damage that these are doing, these very clearly do have the Sun Wukong set bonus applied. And we're using Tempest Rush to do that. See, look at that, like 1 billion damage. You know, there was one earlier for 1.3 billion. And this isn't even truly optimized gear. I can do a lot better on this gear than I am right now. And look at my spirit. It's barely moving. I don't even have Epiphany up. So yeah, we did this rift very, very, very quickly. The Rift Guardian is going to come up here soon. Yeah, there's the Rift Guardian. Oh, and it's Stone Singer too, so he doesn't have much health. Boom. Look at that. See, and that's it. That's a rift done, boys. That's what this build can do. It can convert piles of enemies into just big explosions of loot. And I mean, who doesn't love that? I mean, you take this into a greater rift, you have a group with you, you put all those Exploding Palms up for dirt cheap, you never run out of spirit, and things just absolutely die. Yeah, you're kind of useless on the Rift Guardian unless, the boss has some ads. Yeah, I can definitely see a build like this being useful in groups. So I'm going to cut and run on this rift right here, even though we were doing really good with it here. I'll go into a private game, and we'll kind of explain the reasoning behind the build. God dang it. Oh yeah, I forgot I need to Epiphany. To get out like that. Okay. And so we're actually going to leave this game here. Let me get this over. Here we go. Let's see. Private game. Start game. Alright, so let's go over the items, the skills, and the Paragon points. My gosh. I hate that. It just keeps coming up here, and I can't find the option to turn it off. But here we go. As you can see in the gameplay video, the two main items of the build are the Flow of Eternity, which lowers the cooldown of 7-sided strike, and a Madstone, which causes 7-sided strike to apply Exploding Palm. So these two together allow you to apply a bunch of Exploding Palms for dirt cheap. Now you also see that I'm using the 3-piece Sonwuko set. You have to use this, otherwise your Exploding Palms really don't do much damage. Since Madstone is covering the head slot, you have to use the gloves, the shoulders, and the amulet. I'm also using Ina's 3-piece just for these mantras here. You could use something else if you want. I've seen variations with a Hexing Pants, and the thing is you forgo the Ina's bonus. I like the Ina's bonus more just because that helps me survive a lot more, even though Hexing Pants would cause a lot more damage. I'm using Reaper's Wraps right here. This is an option even in Season 2 if you need the spirit badly. Reaper's Wraps will keep your spirit full pretty much all the time in a group, up until the Rift Guard anyway, and then that's when you have your other skills to recover that. Using a Ring of Royal Grandeur because, well, I mean, that's the only way you get all the set bonuses to work in a build like this. Crudest Boots is to give an extra Mystic ally. And, so I'm using Air ally with this, so that'll give me more spirit regen. And then just some random ring. I'm using a Leoric Signet here. Obviously, you want to run a Unity setup if you're running solo. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, a Stone of Jordan would be ideal, but I have not found a level 70 Stone of Jordan ever. So, let's go over the skills. The skills. I'm using Tempest Rush, Tailwind. The reason I'm using Tailwind is for the movement speed. People would, well, why don't you use Flurry? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, you lose the movement speed from Tailwind. That's the biggest thing. If you look on these bars here, you notice that there's not room for Dashing Strike on here at all. So, basically, you're going to be relying on 7-sided strike to keep you alive. The Tailwind Rune will allow you to get out of situations while your 7-sided strike is on cooldown. The other reason you don't run Flurry with this build is that Flurry and 7-sided strike, well, they just don't play well together. Okay, Exploding Palm here, it says lasts 9 seconds. 7-sided strike animation takes about 2 seconds. So after you pop 7-sided strike, you have 7 seconds to build up Flurry stacks before you have to reapply the Exploding Palms. That's not going to get you a whole heck of a lot of damage from Flurry. So this is why we go with Tailwind. Okay, right click, obviously, 7-sided strike, sustained attack. This lowers the cooldown. If you want to get even more Exploding Palms off, you can do a Fulminating Onslaught, because this is actually an area attack. Like I said, each strike explodes, dealing 870% weapon damage as wholly in a 7-yard radius around the enemy. Now that explosion also applies Exploding Palms, so you can put up a ridiculous number of Exploding Palms with the Holy Run. However, doubles the cooldown. You have a 7-second cooldown instead of 3.5 at the end of this build, so it's a lot more aggressive, but it's a lot more risky. If you have a good group that can cover you, maybe, and you're really careful with your positioning, you can probably do it. Okay. And of course, the thing is, we have to put Exploding Palm on the bar, even though we're never ever going to press the button. If you don't have Exploding Palm on the bar, the Madstone will apply an Unruned Exploding Palm, which can be okay, but I mean, come on. 6,300 weapon damage. I think it's worth it. The other option, if you decide to go with an Unruned Exploding Palm, definitely put Dashing Strike on here. That'll save your butt more often than you think. Okay, we're using Air Ally. That's just for the Spirit Regen. Sweeping Wind, Inner Storm, also same thing, just for the Spirit Regen. And then we have Epiphany Desert Shroud. This is for survivability and additional Spirit Regen. If you have no issues with Spirit at all, you could also do Serenity Ascension here. And this is actually going to be really good come Season 2. The reason for that is one of the legendary gems that we're going to want to use is the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. It will give life per second, and then at rank 25, it grants a shield that grants 200% of your life per second to your character, and that restores after 4 seconds of not taking damage. Well, Serenity Ascension means you don't take damage for 4 seconds, so you can basically press this button, become invulnerable, break all your CC, and get your shield back whenever the Serenity cooldown's up. In this build, it's going to be about 10 seconds. If you can find more cooldown reduction gear, you could probably get that down to about 8. But again, you have the Spirit concerns where this is why we go with Epiphany. Or at least I'm going with Epiphany right now. If you're able to get Spirit regen on both your Diablo and your head, and maybe even one of your rings, or even no, you can't get Spirit regen on a subject. Yeah, if you can get Spirit regen on the rest of your gear, by all means, go for Ascension. I think it's going to end up working out a lot better for us than Epiphany. Okay. Passives that we're running here. Beacon of Etar. You need this. This is probably one of the best passives in the game. If you don't use this as a monk, you're doing it wrong. Harmony. Probably the best passive in the game. If you are a monk and you are not using Harmony, you're probably doing it wrong. Sixth Sense. This is actually very, very good for survival in Greater Rifts. If you're doing trivial content, you can replace this for Momentum. Because you're going to be running around a lot, you're using Tempest Rush anyway, so you should be using a lot of that. You can also do Guardian's Path as well if you need more Spirit rather than survival. And then you have Exalted Soul. Right here is going to be our other passive. Now, if you have Spirit regen on your Diablo and on your helmet, I would actually swap this for Unity. Because when you're playing solo, if you each ally affected by your mantras increases your damage by 5% up to a maximum of 20% and has 5% increased damage. Well, when you're running with Crutus Boots, well, your followers 1, your 2 air allies are 2 and 3, and you're 4, so you get the full 20% even if you're solo when you have Crutus Boots. So that is why Unity is so good even solo. But just keep in mind it is additive damage, so it doesn't stack as well with momentum as you would like. Also, if you're hardcore, this is where you put Cheat Death. This is where you put the near-death experience. And also for Paragons. Yeah, I don't have Spirit Regen in my Diablo, so I run Exalted Soul there. For Paragons, let's go over here. 30s, pretty simple. Core. This is for like every single damaging monk build ever. Cat movement speed at 25%. I have no movement speed on my boots, so I apply the full 25 here in Paragons. Everything else goes into dexterity. Offense. Cooldown reduction is your first priority. You need to get the cooldown down of your Mystic ally and your Epiphany as low as possible because this is your Spirit regen. Also, again, you need it for 7-sided strike, so cooldown reduction is your first priority. From there, you need to look at your stats right here. So as you can see here, I have more critical hit chance than critical hit damage, and the 10 to 1, basically you want to keep this at a 10 to 1 ratio. So I'm short on critical hit damage, so that is where I put my Paragon points first. After that you go critical hit chance. Attack speed is not optimal, simply because the faster you attack, the quicker you're going to spend your Spirit. And remember, we're not generating Spirit. We're just getting it back passively. So attack speed is only good if your Spirit regen can keep up with it. Defense. Always start with Resist All. Now armor is also very good. It becomes better as one of your legendary gems gets leveled up. We use Taiguk in this build. At rank 25, it'll grant you 0.5% of armor per stack, and that will add up with this. So this becomes much better as your Taiguk gets stacked up. Your third priority is going to be life regen, simply because we are using the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. This will indirectly translate into health as well. And in utility, resource cost reduction is big. Again, we don't generate spirit. We only regen it passively. So resource cost reduction is huge. We're using Tempest Rush to keep our Taiguk up. So we don't need to stop at 6.6 resource cost reduction. We can go the full way on this here. After that, area damage. Oh my god. 1.6 billion damage exploding palms. And then you get an area damage proc on this. Oh my god. You just do ridiculous amounts of damage at that point. After that, life on hit, and then gold fight is like, whatever. You got a boon of the Hoarder. You don't need that. So yeah, and lastly, let's go over our legendary gems that we're using. We're using a Taiguk, simply because we're running around with Tempest Rush a bunch. We're spending Spirit all the time, so that is what we want to go with. We're using Bane of the Powerful, because it's one of the better gems around right now. Now, when Season 2 comes out, we're going to replace this with the Molten Wildebeest Gizzard. And then we're using Bane of the Trapped because, again, if, this is a damage multiplier. If you're not using Bane of the Trapped as a monk, you're probably doing it wrong. So, yeah, guys, I'll have a link in the description below to the Diablo Fans Guide. Feel free to come visit my stream, twitch.tv/Terrelther. If you want to see more of this in action, I'll have other guides coming soon. If you like the guide here, go ahead and give it a thumbs up here on YouTube and on Diablo Fans. It would be a great help to me. So until next time, gang, see you later. Thanks.